You'd say another day, another series, but not just any series. Fnatic versus BDS is fighting your way out of the gutter right now, and the LEC is where they stand. My name's Hysterics. I'm joined by Daggies. Oh boy, is it going to be a day, sir?
I am expecting a banger, and I'm hoping that is exactly what we will be given here today. BDS had a fairly decent showing across Game 1 and Game 3 yesterday, and I'm really hoping we start to see some of that magic here as well against Fnatic, because this is not a team that you can just show up and hope that they kind of mess up and you can take them down. That's
true, because even pre-season people saying this could be the best team in the LEC now. There's been some ups and downs, but Fnatic have risen in the later weeks as well. And there has been development of the craziest sort, especially with that bot lane, Dagda.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the times for Fnatic, they have the ups and then they meet G2 and then they're down. They're trying to have a little bit of a fight back here against BDS and show that they still deserve to be considered one of the top teams in the LEC. But it does start here, trying to take down the squad and make that lower bracket run.
Again, it would be such a good run because Koi trying to do the same thing later on in the series coming up as well. As, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back in a big way because I feel like Fnatic versus BDS in the past would have been, you know, second versus third, the people that are trailing. BDS are obviously trailing a little bit further, as right now we're asking, like, how do they get in that top 4 conversation here as we run straight into pick a ban for Game 1 of this best of 3. Yeah,
I'm very excited now to see exactly what the game plan is. 113 still getting his Nidalee ban taken away from him, nothing too untoward there. I actually am surprised that the Investment ban, Oscarinin has very much been trying to go towards that pick. It says to me they're probably looking at an early K'Sante pickup here for him in this rotation, or maybe he's just happy to go back towards some of the Jax in response if that is taken by Relevant.
Oh, okay, well that Jax is such a big pick to consider as well, and Bessel was one of them too, as both these top laners have looked good in regular season throughout on it, especially Oscarinin, as Fnatic are the ones that actually take it away. Now, what do you want to see at first pick? Because we've talked a lot about junglers and being priority in the patch, things like Zyra, the Maokai, Fnatic pay homage to here. Where else do you want to go?
Is Skarner going to be banned is the question now. Like, I don't think Razork has looked amazing on us when we saw him the last time, but no, it is going to be left open. So yeah, it will be left open. So I do, like, when it was against G2, I wasn't the biggest fan of him on the Skarner. So I think they're kind of saying, hey, look, we don't mind if you get your hands on this. And it looks like Fnatic don't mind if BDS get their hands on it either. Going towards the Zyra, thinking that's a higher priority in this one.
Handshake deal then. Because Skarner has to be picked up here, as we all know. But pairings are important, hard CC to follow, and make sure that this duo locks you into a wall and you stay there.
Yeah, it does also mean that we're probably going to get the Yone on a quick rotation here from Fnatic. So for BDS, it's kind of what do you want to opt in towards? We saw Nuke going towards the Tristana in the past to try and answer that against Heretics, but it had a mixed bag at times. So I am curious exactly what they want to try and go for.
I love your Yone point, mainly because as Ezreal gets locked in here, a pairing with the Skarner would have been good because pairings with Zyra are things like the Yone as well. The setup, the knockdown, you know, off the Zyra ulti. It's so good when you have those AD solo laners, and then Zyra is that main AP source in the jungle.
Yeah, so now the question mark is exactly what you want to go with. So my eyes would be Yone, and then probably pick up something like a Parus or something along these lines in that bottom side for upset. Something that can do relatively well in the Ezreal, you don't have to worry about it. They're going to go towards the Corki, so I imagine this is actually a Corki for Humanoid in the mid lane.
Oh, you reckon?
And we probably still see a different AD carry for upset here.
Okay. Let's see if that flexibility shows its hand, or a quick support for priority for Fnatic would be given here as well. We've got a lot to talk about Mikyx today, and Mikyx through the regular season on things like the Rel, the Leona, hit mine first. As another part of the engage is that top lane, and for Oscarinin, solo lane dominance here gives him a tank.
I do think we'll get the Rumble here for Irrelevant though. Okay. And then the thing is you get to leave this Corki as flex pick. So if you go with Rumble, it then opens up Nuke to go for something like a Tristana if we do actually get that shift of the Corki down to the bottom lane for upset and then a Yone for Humanoid. So you can keep Nuke with that counter pick. And it still works very well with the answers that have been taken. We're actually going to go towards the Aurora. So still getting that AP damage, still a flex that can go into that top side, and still something that keeps your draft at least a little bit open.
And also creates a lot of zone control here for BDS as well. And when we talked a lot about their season and how they can be a slower team, we build towards these late games. For BDS, I mean, you know, team fighting here is already built into their wheelhouse with these first 3 picks, as we start questioning what they're going to pinch for their 4th pick here, Dagda, as Kai'Sa gives us a little bit of insight, thinking that, again, as you said, Humanoid is running that Corki mid.
Yeah, I still think it's probably going mid lane. It's had a mixed bag on the bottom side. I think Karzi's only the really person who has found some success with the Corki in that bottom side. So, and Humanoid has already picked it up twice for himself. So that's why I imagine it's still going mid. And with Kai'Sa gone, Varus could be next on the chopping block to make sure he doesn't make an appearance. And at that stage, maybe you're into things like an MF or something along these lines if you want to. But with the composition that BDS have, I imagine something that has a little bit more self-peel for itself is where they would like to go in that AD carry role.
I haven't had something like the MF in playoffs so far, by the way. It's been very specific to compositions with easy setup, and things like the Zyra give you that as well. So I'll keep that in the back of my mind as we decide where that Corki's going to go. Again, the question was about engaged support, and that's now been decided a little bit with BDS taking away the rel. That's set for anything? Is that fishing for something here?
I think it's just opening up just more picks for Parus on that bottom side. Like, can always go towards the Leona, potential for the Rakan to come through here as well. And you definitely want ease of engage here for BDS, because Zyra are going to make things very tough if you end up messing that up.
While we are talking about supports, by the way, Poppy, I was going to say, is one thing that BDS could have rammed up against a Corki and a Cassante too, but that now is taken off too. Leona also becomes a little bit easier here for BDS as a question mark for Parus.
Yeah, I think you just first pick either the Rakan or the Leona here and say, hey, we're actually going to keep this flexibility open with the Aurora, unless you are just happy to throw the Aurora into that top side.
Hold.
But yeah, I think the biggest problem is that Aurora doesn't do too well yet in the lane swap. So
it's broken, Dagda. It's broken. Axiomarcanist is broken. Oh, hell yeah. Can't wait to get into this one.
Seems very happy KC fans there but yeah, Zyra Khan taking on the opposite side. And I do like this. Again, we're kind of saying something that has a bit more self-peel in the AD carry role. Xayah fits that, because you are going to have a lot of that assassination potential with things like the Aurora trying to dive on towards the back line. Now, even with a lot of the answers that are available into the Rakan, like a Leona or Nautilus, Xayah works well into them. So I really like what Fnatic have brought to the table. But if BDS can get this comp rolling, it is very scary.
It really is. Have fun in side lanes as Nautilus is going to round it out. So there is a big piece of engage here to line up with 113 on the Skarner. Finn, I hope you're watching, because again, on this Skarner in early, I mean, he's got a lot of lanes to play around, Dagda, let's be quite real. Although top lane might be stale as anything, depending on how Oscarinin plays it out.
Yeah,
or is it really going to be lanes?
That's what my biggest question is like, how does Garen do in a lane swap? Because sure, he's got the silence, but the survivability under the tower isn't great unless you just go for the immediate whirl and hope that you can take someone down as they are looking for that CC lock. But I think with the long-range CC from a Zyra into the lockup from a Xayah into the follow-up from Rakan, it's going to be fairly difficult to try and survive that dive. So I wouldn't be fully surprised if Fnatic opt into a lane swap here.
But again, it's that question, isn't it? Because standard lanes just really don't exist. You know, 1 out of 5 games you'll get them. We're not in 15-5 where there's nuking turrets and anti-lane swap mechanics, but we are into our elimination game. And why does Joe Blow at home need to care about this? Well, BDS have had a long track record last year of being the 3rd best team. And we've come into playoffs, and where they've started, right down the bottom, almost losing out to Vitality, is a crazy intro here.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we have BDS coming in at 7th place is a very big surprise. Like, this was a team that restructured entirely coming into the split, and now they find themselves going up against a team that a lot of people expected to win the split. So a hell of a lot to prove now for the BDS side.
Because Fnatic ain't mucking around here as we start our next best of 3. The second day of playoffs. It's only really begun, hasn't it? It's not the second day of the second week. Playoffs will continue. Remember, lower bracket elimination. After this, don't forget, GX and Koi will be following in another best of 3. All fearless as there he is. Phase Rush Garen, Axiomarcanist, that 14% buff to his ulti. Oh, I hate it. And also, I think it's Buppo who was saying, if you do take precision, you know, you take your secondary and you get coup de grace as well, that also gives it a little bit of a buff. You end up ulting from half HP, and at level 11, it was Finn, some of our top laners backstage talking about, you just ulti, and at 50% at that point as well, it's just lights out. So look forward to this one. He is, of course, taking TP into this lane. No Ignite Garens. So we will still have the flexibility to join in for some of these fights. I expect Stride Breaker first, Dagda. That's kind of been the go-to so far. What are you seeing on the build path there? Yeah,
my big question was if you're going to get something funky, because we've seen like Shoguts who end up opting in towards the movement speed buffs with celerity, going like Symbiotic Souls.
Yep.
We even got it over in LCK today as well, so I wasn't certain if we'd see, or maybe it was No, we got an LTA last night.
We got an LPL today too, by the way.
Okay,
on either, I mean, my days are blending together. We got, no, it was actually yesterday, LEC.
Yeah, it was LEC.
Let's just name all the regions.
Yeah.
We got
I watched a lot of League yesterday, so it was my day off, so of course I spent it watching League, you know.
What do you want to do on your one day off?
So I wasn't sure if you get it, but it looks like there are some Swifties in the builds, but I imagine it'll be kind of a bit more of a standard boots option for him. But yeah, I think it's still very exciting to see something that can definitely bully Oscarinin out in these early stages. We all kind of know Garen likes to take these early trades, back away, heal on up, just make it very annoying to lane against them.
Perseverance early is not that great, but it's still, you know, HP regen as Mikyx won't have that same luxury, will he? He gets burnt down to about 75 HP, 60 in the end as well. He'll pop the pots, but Fnatic's 2v2 are now pressured out by Parus and Ice. Yeah,
he's kind of lucky that Razork actually decided to start pathing down towards this bottom side, because 113 is also on the way, and that could set up for a very easy dive. So I think Razork now going to have to start making his way swiftly down towards this bottom side of the map, and making sure that he's going to be able to keep this bot side safe.
There was a ward on his red buff. That expired. I truly wonder if the information over to BDS gives them any confidence here to keep on pushing forward, but nevertheless, as you said, Razork straight to the Krugs, but notice 113 also in the vicinity, and pings are getting slapped down here as the 2v2 heats up.
Yeah, I think they're fine though. Mikyx, half HP, should be okay to keep himself in order, has now the battle dance as well to get back to upset for safety, but Razork is here. Good ward from BDS to spot him out though.
And it was just placed down just then as well. With Ezreal, should be able to arcane shift away, and Mikyx not even going to find an engage. Just a bit of damage from Razork as he walks back and thinks about what he can do with the upcoming spawn of the Grub. Crap. The animal.
Yeah, Razork just going to pop his head in and see that that blue was just taken, so should know 113's here, but...
Hello. Skarner does good base damage early, doesn't he? Really good base damage early, and you wonder why this champion's banned. 1, 2, 3 is the heal, and the flash from Razork. Line hits a wall in the end. The 3v3 ensues, and Upset won't be able to root down until eventually, but Parus is already too far away. That summoner's down from Razork, by the way.
Yeah, I thought with the Brian Bloom that he'd actually spotted that blue buff was still up and then got taken, but I don't know, maybe it wasn't the interaction that he expected, so ended up walking immediately in towards 113. So nice job by BDS to blow the early summoner spell, and now that makes Razork way more polite if he shows up in any of these lanes, because if he overextends, suddenly you can get these kind of flash slows from 113 and set up for potential kills.
Just some of the power again of 113 on the Skarner. I believe he was able to back away, and he was indeed. Giant's Belt already starts the heart still stacking, at least stacking to the item as Krugs in the top side spawn momentarily as well.
Yeah, I do think though for BDS this is going to be a very, very interesting game, because I think for a lot of this it's about trying to show that you can finally beat Fnatic in a best of. BDS, the record against Fnatic in these best ofs and playoffs has not been great, despite the fact that we oftentimes see BDS threatening towards the top of the table. It kind of feels like Fnatic have always stood in their way, and now it is their opportunity to get something back, because Mikyx once more hit, but able to battle dance away.
He will indeed. For me, BDS, you know, before I joined LEC, I think 2023 Dagda on the end of the year, it was crazy. Because I was like, dude, BDS is crazy team. When Adam was on the roster, bringing out the Gods champion at that same 2023 Worlds, I just thought, you know, this roster's so unpredictable. They're so fun to watch as well, right? And then last year, they became a bit more predictable. I felt like we talked about their team fighting and like how they want to structure their games. So simple yet, I mean, so complicated in the same vein, right? Yeah,
but I think it's trying to find that success has kind of been what BDS have struggled with, which is around objective setting up early. And now in this bottom side, here comes 113 though.
The Parus could be in trouble. Mikyx's going to dodge away from the dredge line. Upset low on mana as 113 into the wall. Again, that drift went for ages, and Razork gets the aftershock. Bodied, and again, Dwayne is going to look for some more shots. 113, 1, 2, 3, another auto needed, and he dies! The Scorpion King for first blood as Mikyx, he ain't safe either. Trying to kite back, another rock picked up a dredge line. Upset 2 is just getting autoed, and again, this champion, early game, doesn't look fair.
I mean, this was just great play from 113, and 113 has had a phenomenal weekend this weekend. He's been stepping up massively for BDS. We saw it yesterday where he was consistently able to get into these early positions and set themselves up for success. And then on the opposite side as well, in this game, he spots out, look, I already burnt Razork's flash. If I can just look for these counter ganks, I'm going to set it up fantastically, and we get to see it here. 113 predicting with this push that there was probably some sort of issue that was going to come down, or Razork would be here. Tries to help him out, so 113 sorts him out on the top side as Ice doing a heap of work to get in towards Upset here. Crucially, landing the W in the Arcane Shift gives him the most amount of mana regen off of that W, so he's able to then follow up. And then Mikyx kind of, unfortunately, was actually the one that Parus was going for, but Upset ends up flashing in the way and ends up falling for his support slide.
I mean, that Shattered Earth auto-attack damage melee is just crazy. Already such good play from 113, an early 2-kill start, and again, the earlier the Heartsteel, the more stacks that can build up, and the more they can really get BDS going in the early game. It's a nice start. But now Fnatic are in a lane swap scenario, Irrelevant just under turret. Gonna have to dice and slice his way through. I'm not talking about Renekton here in the 1v2.
I think this is where BDS are kind of feeling at their most comfortable, right? You're 7 minutes into the game, you've already gotten like some of the void grubs for yourself. You're in a position where you can start to threaten on towards this bottom side of the map with both summoner spells gone and Skarner just ticking over to level 6. Parus will be an absolute menace in landing a hook and then immediately being able to follow up. So you can see where 113 is trying to get in onto this bottom side, drag it available for them too.
The early game for BDS, well, it has slowed down, as you said. Dragon's going to start being picked up. The Grub's already picked up 2 pieces of BDS's. I'm just going to watch and see how Razork starts catching back up here. A little bit behind in gold, but the Zyra is clear. This is inevitably going to be faster, it feels like, as level 6 now hit 2 is a big surface point to touch on, as the bottom lane should be joining there too. And we know second pair of Grubs, usually a big fight comes out of the blue. And one of the biggest points of the game is first Dragon is now secure for BDS.
Yeah, I think for BDS, the best way to try and solidify this lead is to continue to put pressure on the bottom side and then opening up the push, because Upset and Mikyx actually have insane push between the two of them to clear these waves. As Parus now spotted with Razork, but good hooks the wall, keeps him safe. But you can then immediately look for this rotation in 2 minutes time and go towards that void grubs, look to try and play for 5 of them. The potential team fight that you have at that stage is pretty high, especially if you don't have Oscarinin there. Fnatic lack a lot of that tanky front line that they need.
Especially if Oscar in this lane starts changing faces, you kind of expect the Garen to maybe not do much more, but instant wave clear and be able to do a little bit of damage to Oscar. Taking the wave away is nice from Irrelevant, by the way, but not going to mean too much. It's just Demolish takes the plate, and Irrelevant clears the wave.
I don't think this has really worked out as much as they would have liked to for Irrelevant. Like, the fact that you're still keeping even as Oscarinin is great. Sorry, you're ahead as Oscarinin is great. And now you're starting to threaten turret plates. Irrelevant steps up. They get the knockback. It's
definitely not going to work out well if Razork gets in the mix as well. The plants have joined in and electrocute down. Irrelevant just has to go to the left, but down to the earth he goes instead.
Great decision making there by Razork. Just says, look, I'm not even going to throw out my E. I'm just going to put down the Strangle Thorns, and this will knock you up, and I can get the follow-up with the CC afterwards, or you're forced to flash it and it gets you straight afterwards. So nicely played by Razork. And I'm not sure exactly what happened on the bottom side, but Upset having to burn that ultimate, not ideal when you've got the Void Grubs in a minute's time.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe a good engage from Parus again. I feel like the Nautilus has been pretty on point so far. Now making the move up to top. Those Grubs, as you just mentioned, 55 seconds. So Parus gets here nice and early for the deep ward, for the setup. As the only next question is, how does Razork approach this? Oscarinin has just picked up his first item, and more importantly as well, 113 didn't actually go for the Heartsteel as his first item. Unending Despair, this is a surprise. In LPL and LCK, I mean, I feel like every time we see Skarner fall through, which is not many times, it's usually Heartsteel first, just because of how good it is to stack that item.
I think, though, it's very difficult in this game to stack those items because almost everyone, has range in, and even Mikyx is kind of jump in, jump out. So unless you go for Oscarinin, you'd be in trouble. And point in case, Mikyx would just hop away. Can you get the ult? No. 113. They're just going to try and play it safe again. 10 seconds until those Void Grubs. BDS have bought a ton of space on this top side, and it's now on Fnatic to try and retake it.
Don't you just miss the Crystal Spires? Don't you just miss those random points in the map that make no sense? You know, it feels like we've taken a part of his soul away, you know?
Yeah. No, we specifically stripped apart of Captain Flower's soul.
Ah, yes. It's good. That Diamond Scorpion is... I said second Grubs felt like that'd be the turning point, or at least the starting point maybe for BDS, as Razork's trying to walk on in, but we already get a charm. The quickness is out. Impale is out, though. Razork doesn't have a chance. Hit into places. The Between Worlds keeps zones in control. Nuke is now running away with his life, as Grubs have already been taken 4 at least here for BDS. Last one, but not least here, is Fnatic run on in, but 113 doesn't steal it away. In the end, it's actually Ice who queued that. So 5 Grubs for BDS, and This early game still not bad for them.
Yeah, Fnatic just weren't really in a position to contest as much as they'd like to. Ice even getting locked up for a little bit by Razork, but the follow-up just wasn't there, so they end up taking a 1-for-1 trade. They get those Fight Void grubs, and now Nuke under a little bit of pressure on the top side, but he should be fine to just clear this wave out.
You know, the past couple of days, even though we've had 5 kills, there have been some lulls, but this is definitely not one of them, I'm glad to say.
Yeah, and look, you can see the knock-up on towards Ice is actually really nice here. They get the double, but he ends up buffering the ultimate across the top, so he doesn't really matter. He pops over the wall. They've traded one on towards Razork, so BDS are just happy to regroup from this position, and then Upset and Mikyx try to finish it off, but Ice is over the wall, and it's completely fine to just take these couple of Mystic shots and steal that away.
1-1-3. I wouldn't say he's unkillable. It's very early, but it just starts up that narrative. Will be unkillable? Massive question mark there. Is, you know, unending despair with already null magic mantle. No, what do we call that? Negatron cloak. Whose cape is that? Who owns that? What is that?
Are you jealous?
Doctor Strange or something? What is that? What is that thing? Mickey's fine, by the way. He's a Rakan.
Yeah. Like, do you want the cloak? What's happening?
I don't know whose cloak it is.
What? Well, like, I think the only person we know whose item it belongs to is like Doran's blade and Doran's shield.
Yeah.
Because Doran was this old famous blacksmith, right? I think is the lore. Everything else, I have no clue.
It's definitely a Doran from T1, right? Like,
yeah, it's specifically him.
We
knew that at one stage he would become a pro player.
We're gonna have
so, like, what, 15 years ago we created Doran?
We knew. I was gonna say we have, you know, like Wonder's Iceborne Gauntlet, or like Caps's, you know, Black Fire Torch. Putting player names in front of it. I mean, Faker has to have a Fake is Magi Soulstealer or something, surely.
Well, that's, I mean, Rabadon's death cap is already.
Hang on, there's a quickness, and Parus is just dead immediately. That also captures Ice in the back. 1-1-3 has pulled out the Impale, but it's onto Mikyx. He doesn't do much. This Skarner, who was unkillable, I told a lie. A shutdown to Humanoid. BDS were not all there at the same time. And they went in individually, Dagda.
Yeah, nice job from Fnatic to capitalize on it again, using that range really well in that engagement to just make it difficult for BDS. The TP immediately from Oscarinin to the top side as well, whereas Irrelevant had to TP to get there, means that they're able to get the push in as well, so really well executed on the map by Fnatic.
Kill over to Humanoid as well, this Corki, who's 1k gold up, and quietly but not quietly, already has a CS lead in lane. There's been some quiet achievements from Fnatic here in the early game. And now I look, I take a blink, and 2.5k gold lead at 14 minutes in the game.
Yep, great stuff coming through. A lot of the issues that, sorry, I'm holding on because Mikyx a bit far forward.
But will he be okay? 1-1-3's there. Upset gives the extra range thanks to the Battle Dance combo. And once again, Mikyx just scouting out, so he's fine.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue for a composition like Fnatic's is trying to get toward these objectives where, oh, I can get flanked from multiple different angles, but if you just got the numbers advantage and you reset Oscarinin at the right time, they're in a great spot to try and go for it and take these fights. So they're working away from a lot of the weaknesses of their composition, but basically hitting on a lot of the weakness on BDS is that once you're in, you're in. So you can see they've got Humanoid on that top side to match, but the immediate lockup, that zone control is huge. So even though 1-1-3 gets the suppression, Ice has got to disappear. Nuke isn't in a position to try and follow up. And even then, as you get that teleport in from Irrelevant, he's just got to run away because the fight's already lost. So for Fnatic, you have to, or sorry, for BDS, you need to look for these multiple different angles of attack. Otherwise, you're just running through all that long-range CC that Fnatic can play around.
And Fnatic as well, I mean, they've got some range to match, but also when you're running into their territory, things like Zyra or Rakan love that.
It's silly.
It really is, and another part of why Zyra has been like this S-tier AP jungler that, you know, I was asking myself in LPL, like, why aren't we seeing it earlier today? Why don't we see it earlier in other regions as well? But Zyra just feels like, not only does she clear, like, to buggery, like, look at this, 130 to 100 CS.
Yeah.
But also in teamfights, her ult pops as, speaking of, Upset against the wall, might be in the same position. The feathers will fly up, and 1-1-3 seemed to be waiting, but his Impale was already down. Might have missed that, but won't miss Mikyx. Battle dancing back to Upset to stay alive.
So a bit of anti-synergy from Parus and 1-1-3. Parus hooked Upset out of the ultimate from 1-1-3, so the Impale doesn't land, and then you're able to get that, well, escape, nicely played by Upset, to get on out of there. Didn't even have to burn the flash.
Razork's going to spot this out as BDS try and put failure with success starting up the Herald, but remember it's a Hextech Gate Rift. Mikyx's going to be here soon. Top's already there. Humanoid doesn't have TP, so he's walking up at 5k, 2k, and quickly going down. BDS, are they going to be able to get out of here without falling is the next question, as Find themselves the Herald. Okay, that's one. So 1-1-3 trying to get out over the wall. Successful drive.
The thing is, though, all they want to do is try and push them up onto that top side of the map because they want to try and get that push in mid, but Ice able to come back across is actually in a position now to defend that turret. So Fnatic knew they were going to be a bit late to the party, but it already shifted Humanoid up in the hopes that they could crack mid lane tower, but not quite in position to do so.
And so still maintaining the gold lead. Fnatic in this early game. Still in a decent position. One item across the board. Outside of that, nothing else to spruik about until we get to Dragon in about 2 minutes.
But this is the thing, it's not like this has been a very explosive game. We have 7 kills that have been a bit back and forth at these team fights, but it's kind of been who gets onto the objective first has been the winner.
Yeah.
And that is basically going to be the theme of this game, because a huge amount of Fnatic's composition operates around controlling these spaces and controlling how BDS can enter these fights. But if BDS are able to get onto the objective first, they can then look for multiple different angles of attack. It becomes way more difficult for Razork to control one zone. If you've got Nuke on one flank, you've got Irrelevant on another, or he's able to flash into a position. So that's a lot of what BDS are going to be trying to play around in this game.
Looks like for BDS, I mean, their tempo's being stymied yet again as Mikyx, Razork moving into position. Level 11 on the Zyra, by the way. He's almost level 12. He's just power farming. Who knew a Zyra would do that? As BDS seem to be trading other side of the map, but first turret here goes to, no, it goes to BDS. So that's one good thing here is at least Humanoid will be able to trade in the long run.
Yeah, you always have to be careful going for these trades as Fnatic though, because you have the Rift Herald in BDS's pocket. Yep. So if you end up standing too long on the bottom side, you could always end up with a Rift Herald in mid lane and suddenly 2 towers are gone very quickly. So I think for BDS's side, they're happy to trade both of these, but Mikyx hops on out, and now BDS is starting to set themselves up on this mid wave.
Can't do much to Skarner. Every time runs into Mikyx and Mikyx just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Impaled him last time. That didn't do too much, and especially with the damage gone. And
it's also just because you're with Xayah, like, Mikyx just becomes even more frustrating to deal with because he gets the extended range for the battle dance. It's just so hard to lock him down. I mean, look at this. Like, the circle of operation for Mikyx has taken a definite increase this game.
Very, very true. Mikyx's been a big part of what we talked about. Mikyx has been the identity of this team. You want to hear something cool? You want to see this again? Yeah, you do. Well, with Dredge Line, it's going to stay up until Mikyx might die. You know what? I didn't jinx that. You can all stop it. Nuke goes in the back. I mean, his ulti was good as well, but now the all-out running into the midst of 3 teams. Cassante, it's just his time to shine, says Oscar, as a flip back. Might find Nuke, flashes over, hits Ice instead, and back against the wall, gets destroyed down by Irrelevant. That's Demacian justice for you. Well, BDS get the back end of the fight.
That was a little unfortunate timing, Hysterics, because Mikyx goes in that little bit too far forward and ends up getting caught out. Nicely done by BDS to take the fight. It looked a little dicey as Humanoid did show up, but the Irrelevant teleport coming in clutch at the end just to keep the backline safe.
So a couple of kills. Irrelevant actually getting something out of this fight as well, as he wasn't really up in gold. 300 is the difference between top laners and Irrelevant. Now might actually be in trouble. However, it is Garen.
Yeah.
Stride breaker. And I would assume Phase Rush would be up and available if he needs that 1, 2, 3.
It's just a leisurely trot out for Irrelevant. You know, he's completely fine. And it now does open up again that pressure on towards the mid lane if you want to, as they're trying to keep Mikyx from reconnecting with the Xayah on the mid lane. Humanoid going to interrupt the reset there, but you have to be careful here as Fnatic. Dragon is up and available, but there's a lot of members of BDS here.
Rakan spawning bot. It might just be an easy Dragon for Fnatic, would be number 2, and Irrelevant doesn't have TP, so he backed away, is now channeling down mid lane himself with the buildings of a dead man's plate, but not in his back inventory. So Fnatic just pull out the objective.
BDS looked a little uncertain there. They didn't have their own ultimates up and available, and I don't think they were certain on the ultimate timers for Fnatic either. So instead, they just decided to back on out. So it will be 2 dragons in the end going towards Fnatic and Humanoid.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Might be in trouble. You got the ultimates now for BDS.
Out they come. Depth charges in. Between Worlds going to get the slow as well, and he'll get pulled back in. I don't think Humanoid has a hope in hell of getting out of that. Tries to take Parus with him, but in the end, BDS successful game.
Rakan is up and available. You can see Ice wants to start it. The Rift Herald's going down to take the bottom tier 1, but it looks like BDS just going to back away. We'll just be happy with the kill and a turret to boot.
Golden in back pocket. Now it's dead even.
Parus is tied to
Parus almost died to Rakan. Yep. Unluckily, it was only Mikyx who was there. Nice little knock-up, but 1-1-3.
Oh, is that a pale?
It's a bait, it's a ruse! And Fnatic have just been used. BDS will take the pick, and now they open up for the tier 2 turret as well.
113's playoffs have been so damn clutch. That play was sick. Ends up driving the Herald into the tower and uses the taxi service to bring everyone on Fnatic back with them. This man's popping off on the Skarner.
You see someone out the back of an Uber just throwing stuff. God. Let's see a replay. Observers, send it to us. 2 items, Skarner, show us.
It did look like this was really well played. They know the Humanoid wants to try and collect this wave. You've got those ultimates we talked about just coming off of cooldown. So 113 doesn't actually invest the ultimate here because he's like, look, Humanoid's going down. He's not going to have anything to escape. We're fine. And then it's afterwards where I was like, I think you would have got this tower anyway. Maybe you don't need the Rift Herald. But this is great because he's like, okay, either I get the knock-up, which you can see him angling for into Razork, and then gets to push back, and then ends up catching the Xayah alongside Mikyx, and the immediate follow-up then to get the pick. Really well played by 113.
Upset only able to get out thanks to his ulti. As 113, he's dictated this early game. He's got all the kill participation for BDS right now as well. It's not only just a big reason why you don't leave the Skarner open while you ban it away, but I think a bigger reason is the 113, as you said, his acclamation towards players. He doesn't have the kills right now, or rather, sorry, the CS, but he does have the team spirit behind him as well.
And he's been doing a really good job of tracking the enemy jungler consistently in playoffs. We got to see it earlier where he countered Razork as well on that gank in the bottom lane, and now
I screwed this up before, so I need to bring this back. Isn't it 1-1-1-3?
Yeah, it's very close. It is very close.
Boy, oh boy.
But yeah, he's been great, and I think he's been a big proponent as to why BDS actually got that win against Vitality. A few upsies here and there, but overall, big step up from him, and now he wants to step up on towards Humanoid in the mid lane as well.
All it takes is a run into the wall. Humanoid gets charmed in an impale again. Humanoid thought he was safe. He thought he ran out of duration. Parus might get the kill, but now he's got a depth charge. Underneath this turret, he gets a little bit frisky. Parus is tanking up both of them, though, and Fnatic know it. So now they punish. They pounce and they look for more. Mikyx, his angle there with flash, but no ulti available.
Upset just can't really play this fight. Irrelevant and 113 could try and run him down. Nice is in a decent position as well. Just continue firing, so Fnatic will back away. The tower still falls, so in the grand scheme of things, 2 for 2, but BDS are still getting the towers.
I truly wonder the way this game's going. Is it just going to come down to an Rakan play, into a Baron play at this point? 24 minutes, Baron spawns in about 1:15. And we are building up to some of these bigger objectives as we watch again the play between 2 turrets.
Yeah, great timing here from 113 and Parus. So 113 gets the impale, the follow-up from Parus is here, but it's the follow-up from Nuke that ends up going that little bit too deep. Parus kind of gives his life. Nuke goes in to finish off Razork, but because he ends up popping around with the Between Worlds, ends up running into the tower and upset on the back of it. And now you're in a position as BDS to follow, but Irrelevant finds Oscarinin.
All that's going to be used, at least for the time being. Irrelevant going to get poked out a little bit. Oscarinin won't be able to find him more. He flashes, though, and proves me wrong. Irrelevant still has his Demacian Justice, but he just spins away.
He's so fast!
He really is. And Oscarinin has now run out of fuel. Irrelevant, he's going to TP away. Yes, indeed. Nothing to stop him till that W, but TP gets him out. And meanwhile, BDS have already started the Rakan.
Oh no, is this Fnatic collapsing a little bit? You're now like, you're chasing after Irrelevant, you lose Rakan. Yes, you get the tier 1 top, you should get mid. But this could be huge. The fact that you can try and break open inhibitor turrets with this Rakan buff could be huge for BDS.
Really is. BDS. Not only does that Rakan enable them to fight around this Baron, forces Fnatic from taking this topside jungle. Humanoid might be caught out here. Irrelevant looking for the chase down with Stridebreaker almost up to. A Valkyrie won't stop it as Irrelevant still charges forward. That Stridebreaker is now there. He's at half HP, scared to go in any further as Mikyx threatens. But again, that Ishtal's impact is up against the wall, ready and willing as 113 is unkillable here with multiple members not present by Fnatic. A route down is good, but Ice is now coming in. A depth charge to follow up. The tangles are out, but it's not enough to stop Irrelevant. The poke from Nuke as well. His angle, gorgeous. And the flank tearing Fnatic through. Because BDS are in front of the Baron with no Razork.
Mikyx tried so hard to keep his teammate alive, but in the end, they both end up falling a lot with Razork, and now Rakan's still there. Baron to be taken. A desperate TP from Humanoid to try and steal away the 3rd dragon. And you can see, I think Parus is trying to sniff this out, at least push Oscarinin off that mid wave.
Humanoid just trying to get what he can off the Barons of the play, which is his 3rd dragon for them. And he will get it uncontested here, but Baron going over, BDS with a gold lead yet again. And a very contested first game when we're coming in saying that, you know, BDS didn't even look that clean versus Vitality. This is a very good opening look.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, this, in my eyes, was supposed to be kind of a bit of a quick 2-0 with how Fnatic have been playing and what BDS have shown, but they've been consistently catching Humanoid on these side lanes. This combo between 113 and Parus has been great. And unfortunately, like, Mikyx, he did a good job there of actually creating distance, but here, it's where the problem starts. The Between Worlds from Nuke was great. The ultimate from Parus lets them shut him down. That final auto attack as well, proccing the passive from the Aurora, takes down Razork, and now BDS barrened up, looking to push down this top side.
Now, I can't give you an Rakan buff timer, but I can tell you that it should be at least 3/4 of the way through. What that means is for BDS, they can dive this, and they might have to make it quick if they do. But outside of that, they will go to their normal death counters. Remember, again, 15.5 seconds won't be relevant as Nuke is just up against the wall, but now I guess it will be. Nuke had to sit in base for 15 seconds, and turrets are just going to get pummeled down. Line not going to connect, but inner turret should eventually find its mark as Ice helps it take it through.
Yeah, just BDS trying to hard force this. Nuke going to reset. He can teleport back in on the play if they need to, but looks like BDS just going to try and take these quick recalls as they took a little bit too much damage, trying to look for that topside tower and regroup coming out of base with a minute and a half left. They can probably play off of 1 or 2 more waves, but after that, at least Fnatic have managed to hold on to the base.
Have indeed, and the other good news to apply to that for Fnatic fans is that they're on Soul Point coming up as well, so BDS might have a lead, but Upset is very strong. And again, I talked earlier on about how Fnatic in this game, at least to start off, had gone under the radar a little bit. People like Humanoid farming, Upset the same deal as well. I think the radar, it can be shown there again that he's even with Ice. So 80 carry strength is there for Upset. Humanoid, you can say the same thing here on this Corki as well. It's just been getting through 113, this tank, and some of this engage of BDS. Once again, a Line shows us exactly why. The poke from Ice, not too meaningful onto Oscarinin, but it is onto Razork. He can't step forward willy-nilly as Ice's poke and burn as well is worth watching.
BDS are doing a good job of controlling the jungle space though, and always giving themselves avenue, as you can see, to shift down into this bottom side. They can move back to rejoin with Irrelevant, and Fnatic are desperately trying to give Humanoid all the ammunition that he needs. Topside push, hopefully he can reset and get that last Whisper, but now BDS are on the turrets.
Oscar onto Nuke as well as what I'm looking at, while Ice might take down Mikyx. Look at what Oscar's just set up. Between Worlds is used for Nuke to now get on out, but Oscar's found a flip onto Ice, who flashes and runs for his life, but the feathers will fly and root up with a kill. Yet a double set up for Upset.
That was a 4 versus 5 for Fnatic. Look at the top side. Humanoid is still just pushing in. Fnatic may have just found the miracle that they need to hold on to this game. Yeah, Irrelevant will take the mid-tier too, but Fnatic holds, and they got a ton of gold onto this Corki.
Like I said, those quiet achievements, they're strong. Upset is strong. A double kill added into the fuel of his flames to his fires as Razork looks at the base, won't find it in the end. Irrelevant manages to escape, but turret for turret trade in the end as we look at this aggression from the Baron buff.
Yeah, they get the pick on towards Mikyx, but at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter because Oscarinin gets on towards Nuke, which is the big difference maker here. You end up making the Aurora so low that Between Worlds doesn't hit onto anyone really that threatening.
Yeah.
And then Upset with the flash forward, smelling blood in the water, doesn't quite get hooked up. Nearly gets Nuke on the back of it. But Fnatic, they hold on to their base and they get some much needed resources.
Well, 4th item on the way. Upset is what I'm looking at. And again, you know, people at home who are watching BDS and saying, like, how do they start closing this game? Look at Nuke. Look at his item set. Rabadon's Death Cap now picked up as well. This Garen with 3 items too, and he's going to be able to chunk and stick on someone, thanks to the fact that he's got his Force of Nature.
Yeah, again, though, this is where you do have to be a little bit careful as BDS, because the whole conversation we've been having is about how you approach fights, and I think that was a good example there, again, of if you just run into Fnatic, they get value from Razork's ultimate, they can get value from Upset being able to play in the back line, and even Oscarinin just providing that big beefcake in the front. But as long as you can actually find multiple flank wards, you're in a much better spot. So for BDS, it's like trying to draw Fnatic out for this Dragon in 45 seconds. But honestly, if I'm Fnatic, I think I give it up. I try and set up Vision instead around that Baron that's in a minute 30 and look to try and play forward the front-to-back fight as BDS try and regain that control.
Maybe a soft contest then is happening from Fnatic as they're grouping up at least a check. Oscarinin moving into River. From soft goes hard to the question of how they move in. And Mikyx, he just thinks about his angle here. He's got his locket available as well. No fear is, remember, 4 items now for Upset. He's just picked up his 4th.
Yeah, they were looking at Irrelevant on that bottom side thinking, okay, maybe we can get this engaged while there's still 4 versus 5, but now it's Fnatic who've taken control of the area. But you can see BDS, this is how they want to play, spread out. Look at Nuke that has that opportunity to come in from this top side and on towards Humanoid and the rest of the team.
And BDS poke as well, let's not forget it's landing. Mikyx sick of it though, jumps into ice in the back, the quickness there. The ultimate from 113 is good, but between world from Nuke is even better. He's blasting Fnatic out of the waters. A dredge line to finish it off. Oscarinin plays back, but Humanoid plays dead. BDS with 4 still alive. Oscar at least gonna flip. One is, no, wait a sec. Take it all. Nuke looking for the burst. He will eventually take him down, but in the end it gets messy while BDS will get the dragon.
They all jumped on towards ice, but they risked everything to get the BDS AD carry, and BDS are able to turn it around off the back of it. The dragon, alongside so much gold, that may have just built the disaster for Fnatic.
So Fnatic's mind, not getting the soul here, big deal, but the fight and more gold over to BDS must be bigger here is what defined it for you. And
I thought that Fnatic were going to play back into the choke, but everyone jumps on towards ice, which then puts Upset into position for 1-1-3 again to get the suppression. Now you've got Nuke who's able to jump using the between worlds on towards the AD carry. Upset had just burnt his flash in that last fight, so they know he's vulnerable, which is why you see BDS collapse. They ignore Oscarinin for maybe a little bit too long, so he's able to get some back. But it's really Nuke having all that extra damage in the back line. Again, 1-1-3, the Skarner controlling that space in the fight. That's what turned it around for BDS.
I mean, again, 1-1-3's been on a tear. We've complimented him enough. I think it's time to mention Nuke a little bit more because I feel like Nuke has also had some big stellar performances, not only in playoffs, but in the regular season when BDS have been playing at their best. He feels like the comfort zone right now is Fnatic are not in that zone. They're going to have to approach the Baron in Fog of War.
Yeah, it's hard not to look at Nuke as one of our top mid laners at this stage, and now BDS are hoping to rely on him again.
Irrelevant's caught out though. There's damage coming through from Upset. They'll just take down the top laner while Baron will be taken down in the process. But Parus with a dredge line while Fnatic are picking apart the pieces. BDS have left members behind. Upset will take a double. Mickey will die for it, but 2 Barons for the cost of 3 alive.
Yeah, the fact that you end up getting 2 though, means ours could end up putting pressure on towards the map, but it looks like they don't want to try and collect on towards this top wave. They're just going to back away for the moment. Nuke going to try and sneak in for Humanoid.
Humanoid face checking by himself. No, he's not, but it won't matter because Upset just watched that happen. What can you do?
Be great. Oh, wait. Ah! I think you're just grateful that Nuke didn't have ultimate because otherwise Humanoid just goes pop. Yeah. So the fact that Nuke could use in the top side helps out quite a bit, but again, that's the threat you're under with this Aurora when she gets towards, I mean, it's only 3.5 at the moment, but when she finishes off some more of this, she is going to be lethal in these team fights.
Just AP assassin. I don't even know. Is Aurora control mage? What do we call her? She's an assassin, no?
Assassin control mage?
Assassin control mage.
Yeah. Yeah. The line has got blurred between roles in this game at this stage.
That's that is a mage assassin. Look at that. Holy. Well, I guess you'd be asking what in the glorp can this can this mid laner not do right now? I don't have the answer for you because again, Nuke is just so damn strong. Level 18, no fight right now on the bottom side of the map. Only pressure for vision here is 2.5 minutes till Dragon.
And that's all the BDS are playing for. Push on mid to now re-establish themselves with a numbers advantage. But Razork might catch out ice.
He might indeed. Over the wall in the nick of time. Razork trying to use that ult to pick.
The value from the sweeper there. Nearly ends up getting ice. Doesn't realize that he's actually caught, but he's able to back away. Now you're down in ultimate as Razork. And Ice can still rejoin with the rest of his team. So BDS again just trying to use that jungle route to get on towards these waves a little bit quicker. Now dropping top wave to have Irrelevant join in a mid just to play off these 2 waves, I think is exactly what BDS want to do right now.
Using the rest of their Baron. Irrelevant's been constantly in the side wave now. I mean, he's also got himself a mortal reminder, so a bit of extra crit chance there, a bit of anti-healing will have impact too. It's a shame not to see the Phantom Dancer for the quicker wave clear, but then again, he needs to start cutting through some of these members. Fnatic group up as 5, looking to defend here. This Baron buff is Oscarinin taking no damage. That's a good thing here.
Yeah, Nuke takes a lot of damage from Humanoid at the start of this, though. Irrelevant spot on the side, but this may only open BDS to try and engage on the 3 in the bottom half.
Maybe it's up to Nuke, but he gets popped. A lot of burn here, I believe, from Humanoid and Razork poking out as
they don't get it.
Adds in.
30 seconds on the Baron buff. This is gone. Red Bull Baron power plays a little bit, like 1600, but not a huge amount at this stage of the game. Relevant needs to make sure he doesn't get caught here. We'll be able to just run away, but now again, we kind of go back to the stalemate where BDS would just be pushing in waves, trying to fall back for the dragon in a minute's time, and Fnatic get to hold for just a little while longer.
So while the game goes on, just a reminder to you all, I do feel like games are going mega long these days. Like, we're never... we get stomps that are 25 to 29, 30 minutes long, but everything else ends up going 40, 45 minutes. Like yesterday, all our games were so long. And you know, we came into season 1, or season 1 of this year, season 25, season 15, 15.1, that one, right? And games were going short because it was snowballing effect. Now, we get these 5v5s with an Impale to kick us off on a Between Worlds. Nuke just destroys Humanoid. He's down for the count. Now Nuke, as he runs the rest of the fight, BDS are playing the front to back, back to front, in from the back. Nuke blows open the front. A true shot barrage onto Upset, while again this Rabbit is hopping over. Aurora is controlling the whole space.
There is just no way for Fnatic to take these fights. BDS have been executing so well on how this composition wants to play, consistently finding flank angles, maybe finding Razork, as he might go pop.
Nuke is invis and onto Razork. His W connects, but not even the Q.
Oh, one auto would have finished him.
I hate this chapter.
Well, there goes Dragon for BDS, so Fnatic scrambling in game number 1. They left this Skarner open. 113's been looking fantastic on us.
Oh, to Nuke go all out. Maybe he's caught out. Oscarinin has his number. He's got the slow, and Nuke might just be dead. A punishable offense. Fnatic is still in this game.
Yeah, minute 30 until Baron, so not any big objectives on the map, but maybe an opportunity to get their waves pushed in. But we're going to get the repeat on the team fight. Again, you've got the flank opportunity here, flank opportunity here, and then the main body is just able to run through that front. Humanoid gets popped. Upset has to use their ultimate so early because 113 again is in a good position, flashes over the wall to keep himself safe. And now it's Ice who's able to just consistently run through. And even though Razork, like in theory, got a lot of people locked up in that Stranglethorns, it's the ability to move around in these fights for BDS that are just such a nuisance for Fnatic.
Yeah, they're never in the same place, are they? Whether it's Aurora, whether it's Ezreal, as you said, they hop around in the fight. Never in one stagnant place, never caught out by Fnatic's route, their hard CC, their consistent CC. BDS with a small gold lead, but gold is getting less and less relevant. Look now at the full builds, you should see. And Nuke being up in 5 seconds with said close to full build as control wards only fill the slot. Is again what you should be paying attention to.
Also got to be a little bit careful as this Garen could try and look for the flank in towards mid. You can see him starting to move up now, which is why Humanoid is trying to reconnect on the mid wave, and Fnatic can't really push that far up into the mid portion of the map, which opens up Baron control for BDS. The map is just getting slimmer and slimmer for Fnatic, and BDS can hide in so many different areas.
Again, when you had those mid turrets down as well, so hard to approach for the vision. This Humanoid trying to poke out Irrelevant. We have 5v5ing, air ramming EU style. Dagda just talked about it, and here it is, the flank. But Nuke is spotted out. He needs to clear that ward. Fnatic path to the left here, not to give him any avenues of attack.
And Mikyx now trying to mark 113 to make sure he can't go in. Does get the lock up.
But onto Skarner, how much does it mean? True Shot Rush means even more. There's the Zyra ulti. Maybe for Upset it means so much. 113's dead. Scorpion down. Okay, what animal's next?
Could be the bunny next on the cards, but I'm not really sure if they can try and get onto it. Fnatic going to start up this Baron. BDS can try and reconnect on this. There's a lot of poke that can come over the wall.
Relevant has his ult available. He needs to chunk someone and nuke someone out, but again, no. 5 members of Fnatic just take the Baron quick as you'd like. And all it takes is one pick. Really smart decision from Fnatic.
And now it's a case of how hard do they want to try and push towards this. You have the reset from Humanoid, could TP onto some of these. He's going to immediately just pick up the wave that is on the mid lane, and then could join in the rest of Fnatic on this top side. But Fnatic finally get a Baron, and now they just look to try and crack open the base. There's a TP.
Been a flip of all sorts, been back and forth. Second Baron, third Baron, don't know what this is, but it's a Baron into the base once again, but from the opposite side. Upset just got chunked, by the way. So there is a lot of damage coming through as Nuke once again, look at Nuke while Irrelevant becomes irrelevant on the Garen. He gets his Demacia Justice down, and Nuke can't get the burst down as a response. Onto Oscarinin though, a good Dreadblind, roots him back, a depth charge as well. They just want to chunk the front line of Fnatic as 113 rejoins the fray. Between Worlds gives space for Nuke, but he misses! He misses, and Fnatic get away with all 5.
It's a hair's breadth away from it being the fight the BDS need, but Fnatic, they get that top tower, and now they get to escape. Upset is already reset to pick up that bottom side of the map as well. He's now full build. Only the boot upgrade left for him. And BDS, a minute 30 now. for Soul, for both of these teams, this has to be where the game ends.
The final fight, as I said earlier on, it does again feel like we're going later and later here as the Baron is still up for 1:30. Fnatic going to use that pushing power here as Ice starts to retreat and starts to pile back.
And that's the big one. As long as you're able to push in mid, as you can see with Oscarinin, and start to get this push in bot, you can just take over all of this area with wards and make it incredibly difficult for BDS to try and answer back into it again. Fnatic control space, control BDS's entrance ways, and that's how you win the fight.
They don't have much wave clear as well, by the way. It's just Ice singular, just at the Q and Q and Q. And for the cannons, it's great. Upset trying to zone him away as a bit of damage to this inner turret. As you said, mid is a threat too. Dragon up in 45 seconds. This soul for either team. And it being a Hextech soul, it feels so valuable when we're talking about teams escaping. One-track mind of going in. They definitely won't get out with the Hextech soul.
You just need to hold them here, Fnatic. No need to get funky with it. BDS now trying to break that by pushing forward, threatening with nuke, but there's so much vision to spot him out. And Razork again just trying to mark on the side to make sure there is no funny business that can come through from BDS.
We all like funny business, but sometimes we're just not in a comical mood. Sometimes we've got to think, what's the appropriate time to laugh, you know? Is it now? Not yet. It was then. All right, depth charge going to be used. Humanoid, he's okay. True Shot Barrage, okay, actually. Great shielding. BDS have used some ultis here, and now their bot lane has nothing there. Kaput, Razork's ulti zoned out, and Parus has to flash away. He's low, and BDS will not have their engage running into this dragon spawning now.
Yeah, exactly. 113 not having that available makes it a bit grim, so Fnatic immediately started up, again controlling where BDS could come through. It was only one angle of attack, and Fnatic locked it down so that BDS could do nothing. Soul for Fnatic, and it's not even much of a fight.
This game has been a flipperoo. I mean, we were just complimenting BDS and how their fights were going, but they've not been able to close the door. It was one mistake, really, in front of the Baron. I mean, there were a couple of mistakes, right? Where Oscarinin also outside the bottom of their bottom turret. Let's try and use English. Their bottom tier 3 turret, okay, to be specific. Fnatic punished well, and this is the problem. As BDS, you can't make that small mistake against Fnatic.
And that's the thing. They clearly have an understanding of how this team works and how this composition works, but unfortunately they just thought they were that bit further ahead than they actually were and couldn't really brute force it. They get punished, and now it's Fnatic who are back on the map looking for 113.
And 113 is found. He's got an impale on his head. Mikyx was the only one found in that case, and Ishtal's impact, or Ixtal, or whatever country, I don't know how to say it, Dagda.
Ixtal?
Is it Ixtal or Ishtal?
Ixtal.
Ixtal, thank you so much. Now that we've had that impact as that TP flies in, BDS don't have a jungle with an ulti, but they do have Nuke who's trying to save the game. Onto Mikyx. Quickness is down, but so is Irrelevant. Jumping in as Parus between worlds is great. Nuke doesn't have any members, though. He flies and dies. It would have been great if he had some support, but 113 has none of it. He has no ulti, no hopers. A triple over to Upset. BDS running for their lives. A Penta on the cards as Upset looks to channel down, but Fnatic, the comeback is real, and BDS are going to be kicking themselves that they're looking to lose this game.
It looked so done and dusted for BDS, but Fnatic, they fought back, and now 5 members pushing into the base. It's Ice and Parus versus the world.
It is definitely a problem, but for Fnatic, as Mikyx dies and continues to dive the turret, Ice trying, saving the game. That's on his cards, but won't be for long. Nexus going to be destroyed, and Fnatic bail themselves out in the start of this best of 3.
It was impressive how many buckets Fnatic found in the back to get the water out of that sinking ship. But they do manage to hold on for game number 1. BDS, as he said, that's heartbreaking. You were so close to having this game.
Well, Laure, take us through the feelings for Fnatic after that game 1 win.
All right, Ginny here, joined with Humanoid from Fnatic. Talk to me about how you're feeling right now, because the first 10 minutes, the first 20 minutes of that game were not going in your favor.
Game was really free. I knew we had it in the back the entire game. Yeah, they had no chance. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, yeah.
When exactly did you know that you had it in the bag the entire time?
The moment we all died that one time, I don't know when it was, but when they got like Drake and Baron, I know it was over.
Prediction for next game?
I don't know. We'll see.
All right, well, thank you so much for such an informative interview. We're going to be heading over to break. We'll be back shortly.
He doesn't like that. Look at him, he's a good boy, but he don't like that.
Maybe we could play some A rounds or something like that. I mean, this is map, right? New tower, new objectives.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat. Red Bull gives you wings.